The immortal John Hancock here, and I'm with my good friend Brett Weiss.
Hey guys, how you doing? Glad to be on the channel.
And Brett Weiss has been a professional journalist for a long time.
Yes.
And author of several books. How many books have you authored?
13 and counting.
Wow. So Brett, why don't you tell audience, if you don't know, and the link below to Brett Weiss's YouTube channel, he can tell you a little bit about him and his background.
Yeah, so I've been gaming since 1975, maybe before you were alive.
Yeah, yeah.
Definitely. And I've started writing about video games in 1997 for the All Game Guide. And from then, I've just been writing for newspapers, magazines, books, the works. Been a video game journalist and just a collector since the late 70s. So yeah, I'm kind of OG.
Wow, that's a long time and a lot of experience. I've really enjoyed learning a lot about classic gaming from you, especially ColecoVision. I know that's a passion of yours.
Yeah.
What was, Brett, your first console experience?
The first time I ever played a video game in a house was a dedicated Atari Pong.
Awesome.
Yeah, my cousin got it for Christmas in 1975, the year it came out.
Okay.
And before that, I didn't know you could play video games in a house. I thought you had to go to an arcade or a mall or a store or something.
Actual Atari branded Pong?
Atari branded Pong.
Awesome.
And my mind was blown because he had a little black and white TV in his room, and he told me and my brother, "Hey, look what I got for Christmas." And we're like, what in the actual? And I was just blown away. But then in 1976, my two best friends each had a Fairchild Channel F.
Oh, yeah.
Which was amazing, which is such a weird coincidence because it wasn't a very well-known system. Even back then, it wasn't ubiquitous like the Atari. And it just so happens the kid that lived next door to me and then a mile down from me, both I considered my best friends, they had them.
Moms must have been talking on the phone.
Right. And it was crazy because it's like, wow, you don't just have 3 or 4 built-in Pong clones. You've actually got different cartridges that you could play.
Yeah.
And then in 77, my friends got Atari 2600s and then on and on. But the first one I actually owned was a ColecoVision in 1982 for Christmas. Well, I paid for half of it and Santa paid for the other half because it was $200 was too much for Christmas for my parents weren't going to spend that much. And so yeah, I had to pay for half of it with mowing lawns and stuff. But yeah, I've got a huge nostalgic thing for ColecoVision and still like to play it, especially with the new homebrews and stuff coming out.
Awesome. So, favorite game of all time?
So I'm asked this a lot, and almost always I get a blank stare, except from guys like you. Mr. Do.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's an incredible universal
Absolutely.
arcade game from the early 80s.
Yeah.
And it was a conversion kit, and but it's just phenomenal. And back in the day, it was a really popular game, but now more people know about Dig Dug because Atari branding and Atari, well, those compilation and Atari and Dig Dug being popular on the 2600 and 5200, and because it's been on the Namco collections and stuff. And
Mr. Do's great.
Yeah, Mr. Do's a great game, but Dig Dug is more popular. So what I say when they give me the blank stare, I say it's similar to Dig Dug but better.
Yeah.
And then they'll get recognition. Oh yeah, I like Dig Dug.
And did Mr. Do? It came out after Dig Dug, correct?
Well, they were in production at the same time.
Interesting.
And I can't recall off the top of my head. They were close. They were they were one followed the other pretty closely. I think Dig Dug came out first, and I think people see Mr. Do as a copycat, but I believe they're in production at the same time. But Mr. Do has a little more intricate strategies than Dig Dug, but Dig Dug's great too. They're both are in my top 10, and the Super Nintendo version of Mr. Do in particular has a 2-player battle mode.
What?
Simultaneous. Yeah, it's completely original to the Super Nintendo, so I highly recommend it.
Yeah, and one of the last games released, right? It was a late release.
It was a pretty late release. Frogger was the last release for the Super Nintendo and Genesis 98.
Wow.
And just to let you guys know, Frogger on the Super Nintendo is garbage.
Yeah.
They tried to do retro reimagined graphics. They tried to spruce them up. It looks like trash. There's no music in it. Frogger, you got to have those classic tunes like Camptown Races and all that. But the Genesis Frogger is amazing. It's a perfect port.
Awesome. All right. So, favorite console of all time?
Well, I always cheat on this answer because I always have 2 answers.
Okay.
The ColecoVision, if you talk like pre-Dreamcast, and Dreamcast to the present, PS2, because I love all those arcade ports.
Yeah.
And I love the collections. The PS2 has these great arcade collections.
I did a video of showing all of them on my channel.
There's a ton of them, and they're great. And it's backwards compatible with the PS1, which is great. I mean, it's you can play PS1 games on it, and I love the 3D third-person hack and slash. I love God of War, Shinobi, Maximo Ghost to Glory is my favorite modern game of all time.
Okay.
Dreamcast to the present, Maximo Ghost to Glory is my favorite game. I love that. It's badass hack and slash, and you can when he uses a sword and like if you miss and you hit a tombstone, you can feel the clang of it. I mean, it's just an incredible game.
All right, so you've been doing this a long time, and what was your first video game convention?
All right, so I was a member of the Digital Press website,
so
as
was
were
I.
you. Yeah, I was 8-bit gamer and ColecoVisionist for different sites. I can't remember. I think I was 8-bit gamer on the Digital Press.
Okay.
And some people would call me 2-bit gamer. You gotta love it.
Yeah.
And I just laugh at all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And but I'd heard about the Classic Gaming Expo in Las Vegas, and I had wanted to go. I'd heard about it before, but I finally decided, okay, my wife and I just said, we're going to go. We went in 2003. I was blown away by tables and tables filled with factory sold Atari 2600 and 5200 games and all these games I hadn't seen before in the stores because they were late releases or whatever. And just, it was so cool to be around so many people that were really heavily interested in the old games, because back in like the late 80s and into the 90s, a lot of times, just retro games, older games were just considered garbage, just old tech and who cared. But through like eBay and message boards and stuff, I thought, oh, there's other people that like this stuff. And the 2003 Classic Gaming Expo was like, wow, it was cool hanging out with 1,000, 1,200 or however many other people that were really passionate about old games. That was awesome.
Yeah, I remember probably seeing you back in the day. I don't know. I went to 4, and they had it several years. I went to, I think, 2004, 6, 8, and 10, or they had a year off or something. But I remember going to like 3 or 4.
I was at several of those. Yeah, that's where I met Walter Day, and that's where I met the National Video Game Museum guys. That's where I met Leonard Herman.
Yeah, that's where I met Lenny too.
Yeah.
All right, so where do you see the game industry going?
Well, I'm always a generation behind. I'm a late adopter, and I'm not always cutting edge and on top of things. Like currently, I have the PS4 and the Switch. I don't have a PS5 or the latest Xbox or anything like that. But it's really the digital thing is really concerning because that killed the record industry. It killed the ability for bands to make money off of records.
Yeah.
So they've got merch and meet and greets to kind of help make up for that. There's some parallels with the video game industry. With everything going digital, it's hard to make money producing a game, and there's so much out there. It's just really tough to see what's happening moving forward, and the diminishing of physical product is really concerning.
Okay, so what modern games are you currently playing? So you say like Switch or PS4?
I do have a Switch. And as a matter of fact, the Switch is getting, a lot of people feel this way. It's getting to be a lot of people's favorite console of all time, because not only can you just grab it on the go, it's an incredible system for indie games and modern classics and soon to be classics and all that stuff. And it's just an incredible system. It's got so much variety, and I'm behind the times. I'm not playing the brand new games that come out, but I'm still playing I've got the Crash Bandicoot collection on the Switch. It's great. Yeah. And I like God of War on the Switch. I thought it was going to be like a reimagined version or something. When I started playing it, I realized, it's got his boy and stuff, and it's a different game. That's great. Yeah. And I still play my 360, and when I go into my game room, 8 times out of 10, I'm playing Atari or ColecoVision or Intellivision or, NES or something like that. But when I do play something modern, it's usually on the Switch or the 360 or whatever. Okay. And it's funny to me that 360 and PS3 now are considered retro. Yeah. Absolutely. That stuff seems so modern to me.
Absolutely. All right. So advice for, I've been doing this 14 years. And I know, how long have you been doing YouTube?
4 or 5 years.
So you said you did over 600 videos?
Yeah, around that, 500 or 600.
So what advice would you give for aspiring YouTubers, people that want to create content and post it? What advice would you have for them?
Okay, only do it if you enjoy it. You want to have fun with it, and do topics that you're passionate about and that you really want to talk about. Because if you only do it because you're trying to get clicks or whatever, I mean, if that works for you, fine, but it's going to end up being a waste of time if you're just put all your effort into this and it doesn't come to anything. And people will see that you're genuine if you're talking about topics that you're really passionate about, and that will come through, and I think your channel can grow, maybe slowly but surely. And over time, you'll realize that it's gratifying, it's rewarding to talk about things that you really enjoy talking about. And do collabs because you can help each other, and just have fun with it. And if you have fun doing it, it's not a waste of time, no matter how many views you get.
Brett, it's a pleasure to have you on the channel.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Where can people find you?
Well, I'm going to make it simple. If you go to brettweisswords.com, BRETTWEISS words.com, there's links to my YouTube, my books, my Amazon page. You can order books from me directly. And just on YouTube, I'm Brett Weiss, and subs are always appreciated.
Well, thank you so much. And thank you so much. It's been a while since I did a collaboration, and love having guests on the channel. If you want to see more of this, in the comments below, let us know. And thank you so much for viewing this video. If you like what you see, please consider hitting that like and subscribe button and clicking the bell for both of us. You folks are wonderful and beautiful. This is Immortal John Hancock.
Thanks, guys. Brett Weiss here. Thank you so much for watching. It's awesome to be on. Thanks, John.
Anytime. You take care.